Before I start this video, I know I'm bringing the videos back an entire week later than I said I would, but you know what? It's fine, stuff happens. Today we're going to be talking about the beloved 1999 dark green Toyota 4Runner that I own. So let's recap really quick. On June 29th of this year, 2021, I started the journey out to Indiana to do a fireworks show for the 4th of July. I left my house here around 5 in the morning to go down to Josiah's house and pick him up, and then start heading out east. And that whole trip went good. We went to Missouri, we saw Brandon, hung out with him for a couple days, and then drove the rest of the way to Indiana, and it did totally fine. No problems, nothing at all. It did totally fine in Indiana and on the way back until the last 40 minutes of the drive back to Brandon's house. Now, I already went over a lot of what happened with the 4Runner in a video I put up a couple weeks ago, so if you want to find out what happened there, go watch that video. I'm just gonna give you the aftermath in this video right here. The shop I took that 4Runner to charged me a little bit shy of $900 to do the job, to put in a rear wheel bearing and refill the rear differential with differential fluid. On that topic, they put in the wrong weight of differential fluid. Toyota recommends 80W90 for that 4Runner, and they put in 75W140. So that was the first issue I had with that there. They also charged me $50 a quart for that stuff, which is insane, because the last time I did diff service on that thing, I think I spent $45 total for all 3 quarts of the differential fluid I needed, which was also the proper weight. So that was a whole thing with the wrong weighted differential fluid in that thing. It seemed to do fine the rest of the way home, arriving back to Colorado a whole week later than we had planned to, but you know, as I said, things do happen and it's fine and whatever. It was just really friggin' annoying having to deal with that, because when I bought the 4Runner, everyone was like, oh, this is bulletproof, it's gonna last you forever. Toyota makes the best cars on the road, you're never gonna have any issues with it, but since I've got it, it's basically just been nothing but issues, and I did go over quite a few of the other issues that I've been having with that 4Runner in a video I put up maybe like 2 months ago or so. I don't really remember, just go check it out. Really quick, a little bit off topic, I do want to mention something that I talked about in that video a couple months ago, an issue I was having with the 4Runner's AC. I had thought the compressor seized and I was going to have to spend a whole bunch of money to get a new one put in and then get refrigerant charged into it, but it ended up just being a $40 idler pulley. The idler pulley had seized and was obviously causing the belt to not spin the compressor properly, causing the AC to not function as intended. So I put in a new idler pulley and put in a new belt as well, because the old one was totally just chewed up, and the AC has been working fine ever since. It blew ice the entire way out to Indiana and the whole way back as well. But anyway, going back to the main topic of this video, the current status of that Toyota 4Runner. Now, I'm still not going to sell it. I know I probably should, but the used car market is totally just destroyed right now, and it's just going to be easier for me right now, at least, to keep that 4Runner around. It does, however, need a bunch of work, which is kind of unfortunate. I mentioned in the vlog on the way back to Missouri from Yellowbanks Lake that the rear suspension in that 4Runner is totally shot, and it is. The shocks are just gone. It bounces like a freaking trampoline, which was fun for the first like 2 minutes on the highway, and then I was like, wow, this is really annoying. I don't like this at all. And I had actually had that happen before because I somehow broke one of the rear shocks. I believe it was on the driver's side. So I've experienced it before. It's not as bad now because the shocks are at least still attached to the vehicle physically, but it's still pretty bad and just not ideal at all. Another issue I'm having with that 4Runner is the alignment. It currently pulls pretty hard to the right, and it didn't do that before the trip. I don't know what caused that. I really can't think of anything. I didn't hit any huge potholes on the way there. I didn't take it on any trails out in Indiana. I was going to until I found out the suspension and the alignment was all messed up. So I ended up just not taking it on any trails out in Indiana or Missouri. Not that there really are any trails in Missouri anyway. But either way, the alignment is pretty messed up and it pulls pretty hard to the right, and the main concern with that, like, you know, usually an alignment is like, okay, you take it to a shop, pay them $60 to $80, and they realign your vehicle for you. The issue with mine is that the most probable cause of it is a bad inner tie rod, which means I need to replace the power steering rack. Now, I mentioned in one of the Colorado off-road videos last year that the power steering rack started leaking, which it did, and it still does. It's not super bad. I'm only having to top off the power steering pump maybe once a month, and it doesn't leave puddles in my driveway, but that's just because it's all leaking into a skid plate and the skid plate's holding on to it. But regardless of that, the power steering rack does need to be replaced anyway. I'm just gonna have to do it now a lot sooner if it is actually that inner tie rod causing my misalignment. I'm hoping it's just an outer tie rod because that's a lot cheaper. If it does end up being that inner tie rod on the power steering rack, that's gonna be a $700 just part. $700 just for the power steering rack, not including any labor I might have to pay for. Theoretically, we should be able to just do it in the garage, myself and my dad, but if I do end up having to take it somewhere, it's just gonna cost me even more money. So you might be wondering, why not just sell the thing? Well, I had played with the idea of just selling the 4Runner, and a lot of people think it's a good idea, and I think it's a good idea too, but the issue is the used car market around here in Colorado is ridiculous. People have sold 4Runners in worse shape than mine with 300,000 miles for $6,000. Not even four-wheel drive or anything, just the bone stock two-wheel drive 4Runner from 1999 with more than 300,000 miles on it, selling for $6,000. And that's good for me because I could sell the 4Runner for a good amount of money, but then I would have to spend a lot of money to get another car, which would not be another Toyota, by the way. I'm still sticking to that. I'm not going to buy another Toyota. If I were to buy a vehicle to replace it with, it would be just a nicer XJ Cherokee. So that's basically the purpose of this video, guys. Just a quick update on the status of the 4Runner and what I'm going to be doing with it. As of now, I'm just going to be fixing it and then keeping it on the road. I'm not going to be taking it on super difficult trails anymore. I'm definitely not going to be ripping it through the mud anymore because every time it sees mud, it either throws a starter or an alternator, and I'm sick and tired of having to replace those two components in that thing. Now, the only unfortunate thing is I can't really take the Jeep mudding either right now, but that's a whole thing that I'm gonna have to talk about in a totally separate video because there is a lot to go over with that Jeep. Anyway, guys, this is going to be the last video outside of my usual Wednesday and Friday upload schedule for a pretty good amount of time here. I hope you enjoyed I think I did a week and a half, maybe a little bit more of daily content on that trip, which we will be doing again next year for sure, so we'll be doing another at least full week's worth of daily content, which will be a fun time. But anyway, guys, come back tomorrow for finally the return of the Spyro 2 Season of Flame series, and come back on Friday for a normal video. It's going to be nice to get back into the normal upload schedule, finally, after 2 weeks of no uploads at all. But anyway, guys, as usual, if you enjoy, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And until tomorrow, that's going to be it.